Greetings, Griffin guys, and wonderful fans of my account. I haven't really decided on a name yet, but today we've got a very interesting theory, a very dark and disturbing one. So, warning applied. Very much warning applied for this one. It is the season 8 theory slash truth, because I don't really know what to say because the internet isn't exactly the most reputable source out there. But alas, here it is, the entire 4chan thread in which it originates from. Now, I know you cannot read that because the image is very low quality, but I will sum it up and give you the TLDR of it. Well, not really TLDR, but I'll give you a good explanation and my thoughts and if it is true or not. So our video starts off with a guy who supposedly worked on the show and was documenting his experiences when on production for Family Guy Season 8. But he does preface that Seth MacFarlane had been going through a rough patch and been dealing with depression and mental issues, and was very dissatisfied with the way Family Guy was going and thought the fan base was morons, that it needed a more mature angle on it and not to be so idiotic and childish. And if you notice, during Season 8, they have a lot darker, more mature themes, more violence, gore, and even the famous Brian and Stewie episode, in which Brian and Stewie are locked in the bank safe, I believe, for 24 hours, and there's no cutaways, no other characters, not them even acting in a titular manner. It's just them, and it's raw and real. And the man even claims that nearly 2 hours of animated gore, violence, and sexual abuse from Season 8 was rejected and or re-edited, which is a lot if you think about each gag is only 30 seconds. That's 2 hours of just pure being cut out, which is kind of insane. And for this next part, this is where things get a little dark because 3 episode proposals were denied, and apparently these were them. So viewer discretion is advised for what I'm about to say. Quagmire basically using someone in his basement and then killing them. Stewie developing a mind control array, which he tests on Brian and eventually uses it to have relations with him. Lois becoming pregnant after cheating on Peter in a threesome with friends from college, confesses to him, and after they argue about what to do with the pregnancy, he performs a home abortion on her using a coat hanger. And also, he mentions that Seth likes to represent himself through characters in the show, primarily Brian and Stewie, which is why the episode Brian and Stewie is so significant. It shows him as a person, as a writer. And if you keep this in mind for the episode Doggone, where Brian kills a dog and then he feels like no one would really care if he died, it alludes to Seth him as a writer and how he feels. And also they were going to animate the scene where Brian eats Stewie's poop. Glad that's not there. And according to the theory, the tension and tone around Season 8 culminates in the episode actually Brian and Stewie, where there's no real gags, no funny shit. It is all serious and real, like I said earlier. And that is kind of like the climax of the whole season, and it's more mature and darker themes. Now, there is an even crazier part of this theory that I haven't even mentioned yet, which was the fact that Seth, during the conception of Season 8, had a co-writer which he privately hired, which the OP dubbed Steve, because he didn't want to say his real name. And apparently when they were all at the writing table in which they come up with ideas and plot lines for the show, Steve would only suggest these nasty sexual gore themes, and when challenged, he didn't really do anything. But he had a special connection with Seth that no one else knew how, and he held some weight in the show. And also this Steve person has deep connections in Hollywood. He got the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to make an appearance, presumably for free, which is not an easy task, and said because he owed him a favor. So this Steve guy is definitely not someone to be toiled with, let's just say. Now, here comes my thoughts about it. Do I think this Season 8 theory is real, or do I think it's just someone on 4chan shitting around for attention and just making random shit up? Honestly, I think it is legit, because Season 8 was definitely a lot more dark, a lot more mature and kind of disturbing. I mean, it basically gives itself away with the Brian and Stewie episode, which culminates the tone of season 8, according to the theory. But do I think the proposal and, the 2 hours of animated gore, the episode ideas that were cut are real? I don't know about that, but it is definitely possible. And I also do think Seth was dissatisfied with the direction the show was taking for a while. So I think this theory does have some ground to it, but I think it takes that fact that Seth was dissatisfied, that this season was a bit more serious, and kind of like puts a darker twist and narrative on it with the Steve character and all that. But other than that, it's a pretty good theory and might be actual real Family Guy lore, which is pretty insane and awesome. Now, I just want to thank you all for watching the video, and just to tell you guys a special announcement, I have a really awesome collab coming up with this other Family Guy Theorist channel on TikTok, and we are really working on something special for y'all. So stay tuned and stay awesome, I guess. I don't know, that's my outro now. I don't know. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye-bye.